Hello and welcome back to our Lord of the Rings LCG solo progression series. And today's quest is the nightmare version of Assault on Osgiliath, which was the fourth scenario in the Against the Shadow cycle. A quick reminder, in this series we're playing through each quest in chronological order of the game's initial release, and we'll only be using player cards that were available at the time of this quest release. I'm calling this deck the Long Way Round. It's a line from the movie The Fellowship of the Ring. Gimli says it to Gandalf when they're going over Caradhras. But I don't know if that's in the book. I just remember it from the movie. And so the reason I'm calling the deck this is because in the original Assault on Osgiliath, you could win it in as early as one round. I think I did it in 2 or 3 rounds. I forget. On my first playthrough, it's really easy to win in solo. But the Nightmare version is definitely making us play the game the right way, where it should feel like we're battling for Osgiliath. And so we'll be taking the long way round. So when I started building this deck, the idea was to do mono tactics with Train for War and use Hama to recur it, and just constantly with that and Book of Eldercar try to just every single round quest for battle quest using Train for War. But I would thread out too easily, and it's a little bit of a crapshoot that you're going to get Train for War and be able to play it as much as you would like. There might be rounds where I couldn't do it. So Gandalf made it better, and you can use Train for War with Gandalf if you're playing Train for War off the top of the deck, because he's considered to have the tactics icon. And Train for War requires that your heroes all have the printed tactics icon, which he is considered to have the printed tactics icon. But I just kind of ran into a log jam where Wizard Pipe, you have to use Wizard Pipe to set it up, and I also needed Wizard Pipe for other things like Galadrim screening, or else I'd thread out, and so it just didn't quite work. And so we'll get our willpower from Aether Swordsman and Knights of the Swan. And I have 9 weapons, which are important to have round 1 for Legolas, and really, in a sense, 9 cards that are dedicated for attack cancellation. So 3 Feints, 3 Wizard's Voices, and 3 Seeing Stones. And so hopefully round 1 we can get a weapon. Gandalf's Staff is also the priority, probably priority 1, and cancel attacks. So a couple of new cards in this deck would be Hama. I've never used him. From the Long Dark, he is a Rohan warrior tactics hero. 9 threat, 1 willpower, 3 attack, 1 defense, 4 health. And his response has been nerfed through the years a little bit. Response: after Hama is declared as an attacker, return a tactics event from your discard pile to your hand. So obviously Feint would be a great target for that, and that's the idea here. Then choose and discard 1 card from your hand. Used to be you could do that however many times you wanted, but now it's limited to 3 times per game for the group. Book of Eldercar I've never used. This is basically the tactics version of Scroll of Isildur, which I think I've used. Bow of the Galadrim is a new weapon that I've not used. The Kneeling Elf it was included in that pack. Attached to a Sylvan character with a range keyword, and so that's going to be Legolas. He'll have +1 if he has this, and +2 if attacking an enemy not engaged with us. I've used the White Council before, but I only used it in Peril and Pelargir to just draw cards. But it's a great, really, really good card, actually. I think I like it more than I realized. It's worked really well in this deck. But you have some options. You can draw a card with it. You can ready a hero. Sometimes that's really helpful to ready Gandalf or even Legolas. You can transfer a resource onto or off of Gandalf, which really helps. Like if I need to play Feint, Gandalf can't play it unless it's on top of the deck, and so that's helpful at times. Drawing a card if we are desperate to get to Steward of Gondor. And then also really cool to just shuffle a discard pile, a card from our discard pile back into our deck, so we could just bring back Galadrim screening before playing Will of the West, etc. So very versatile. But let's get to the quest and see how we do. Okay, opening hand is not good because I don't have Gandalf's staff, and I don't have a weapon. But mostly I just hard mulligan for Gandalf staff. Let's see what we get. No Gandalf staff, so that could be bad. I do have a weapon and I do have attack cancellation, so we'll hope for the best here. It's not so bad to also have Steward of Gondor initially here, and even Seeing Stone, so we'll just do the best we can. You don't always get Gandalf staff, so that's why you don't want to have a deck of more than 50 for sure, because you try your best to see Gandalf staff with that hard mulligan. And you have 8 cards available to you to view, and so that's kind of hard to strike out on that, but I've done it a few times. Okay, so here's the Nightmare setup card. We remove the following cards in the following quantities and shuffle in the Nightmare cards. We're playing Nightmare mode, and the setup says add Palace Remains to the staging area. Here it is. It's a unique location, 0 threat, immune to player card effects. Palace Remains gets +1 threat for each resource token on it. So how you accumulate them is there at the bottom. While it's in the staging area, there's a forced effect. After a player takes control of a location, place 1 resource token here. And taking control is a key word really for this scenario. It basically means to explore the Osgiliath locations, and then we take control of them in our player area. And each time we do that, this ticks up, so does the threat. And then eventually, once we've done that force effect 5 times, then the players can travel here. There has to be 5 resource tokens, and you have to travel and clear Palace Remains to win the game. And so as you can see, we're kind of at the mercy of the encounter deck, because locations might not want to come out. They might constantly be shadow cards, and so there's been playthroughs that go on, and then I've won it in as little as 8 rounds. So we'll see how it goes. There's a response that just allows us to put any overage from questing onto non-unique locations and staging. Okay, Retake the City says you have returned to Minas Tirith just in time to join the army of Gondor as it marches to Osgiliath. An army of orcs and Southrons have garrisoned the ancient city, but Lord Boromir means to retake it. Eager to strike a blow against Mordor, you will see the city retaken or die in the attempt. For setup, each player chooses 1 enemy and 1 unique location and adds it to the staging area. So there are a few options here, and a lot of people will choose to add Southron Commander, because that way the Wind Revealed can fire later. But that's 3 threat, and he's pretty hefty. Total health and defense of 9 is tough. Initially, later on, it won't be a problem, but I'm going to take out, I'm going to choose Uruk Lieutenant, because the engagement's high, and his threat's low, and also his health and defense is low, and the Wind Revealed is not going to be able to fire. And then location-wise, a lot of people will certainly choose Westgate, because of the action. You can add a Osgiliath location to the staging area and just get you closer to winning the game. But I'm not really worried about the end of the game. I'm worried about the beginning of it. So I'm going to choose Ancient Harbor. That's just 1 threat, and we can just deal with that over time through that combat action. So just 3 threat in staging helps us to just not see our threat raise, because threat, I have threaded out before in this quest with this deck. But probably I'm getting to where I win about 8 or 9 times out of 10 with this deck, I'd say. Retake the City. Player card effects cannot place progress tokens on locations in the staging area, so no Asphaloth or anything like that. Force. When an Osgiliath location leaves play as an explored location, the first player takes control of that location. We talked about that. And if the players control all Osgiliath locations in play at the end of the round, they have won the game. So there's sometimes where I'll clear Palace Remains, but then for several rounds, locations keep coming out. That can be quite annoying. All right, resource phase. We're hoping to see Gandalf staff. No can do. Okay, we are on the resource action window. And it's important not to neglect that, with Gandalf's ability. Play with the top card of your deck face up. Once per phase, you may play the top card of your deck as if it was in your hand. When playing a card this way, Gandalf is considered to have the printed leadership lore, tactics, and spirit icons. So right now, in the resource action window, I can play assuming it only costs 1, I could play any card with Gandalf's resource. It can be wild. But certainly I can't play Feint, and I'm going to try my best to get Gandalf's Staff out during planning. So during the resource action window, I'm going to play the Seeing Stone, Doomed 1. Search your deck for a card with the Doomed keyword and add it to your hand. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to actually look for the Seeing Stone again. It's got the Doomed keyword. After I grab it, I will shuffle my deck, and so maybe now I'll see Gandalf's Staff. And I didn't. But I don't mind that it's Rivendell Blade. I don't know that I want to keep doing this per se, because Rivendell Blade is good. It's my favorite weapon to see, so I could play it. And then I've got attack cancellation with Wizard's Voice, and the fact that I have Foe Hammer is not so bad. And I'm a little worried to keep using Seeing Stone. I'll try it one more time because I've got a weapon. So let's do Seeing Stone again. We're still in the resource action window, and I'm going to, instead of grabbing Seeing Stone, well, let's do it. Let's do Seeing Stone again. I'm just going to push my luck here. Grabbing Seeing Stone, and that is not Gandalf's Staff, so I'll play my last Seeing Stone to grab, this time, a Wizard's Voice. The other option would be the single copy of the Power of Orthanc. And no Gandalf's Staff. All right, so I tried. Okay, so now we're in the planning phase. And I will use Hama's resource to attach Dagger of Westerness to Legolas, and it's very important that he has a weapon. We need to be able to combine 3 and 3 and 1 at least, because there's some enemies that have combined health and defense of 7. Some have combined health and defense of 8. So it's very important to have a weapon round 1. And I'm going to try to attack and destroy an enemy and use Foe Hammer. I might as well do this. This is kind of like drawing cards. I'm going to use Gandalf's ability, which says once per phase, you can play the card off the top of the deck. So Book of Eldercar, I can only attach to a tactics hero, and I can reduce the cost by 1 for each hero that we control with a printed tactics resource icon. Right now I have 2, so if it were my hand and I played it, I could only reduce it by 2. But in this case, it's on top of the deck, so when playing the card off the top of the deck, he is considered to have the printed tactics resource icon. So it just costs 1. So what I am going to do is spend a resource to play this and attach it to Hama. Just really as, oh, there's Gandalf's Staff. Okay, so that's good. Next round, at least I'll get it in play. But that's just trying to draw cards, really. Trying to get to Gandalf's Staff and Wizard Pipe and Steward of Gondor, which I already have. So now I just need Wizard Pipe and I'll have my engine set up. I'm going to save this resource so that I just have enough resources next round to play Steward of Gondor, assuming that, well, I'd have to get Wizard Pipe, but I'm going to hang on to this resource. Can't use it on Gandalf's Staff. Can't use it to pay for things in my hand that are, because this is a neutral resource. Okay, at the beginning of the quest phase, this little trigger here is just about this response, which I can't really utilize. We're just going to quest with Gandalf, and we reveal Western Quarter. Okay, it says force, when you take control of Western Quarter, discard the highest cost attachment you control. So when this gets me, it's always going to be Book of Eldercar, which I don't mind. It's sort of protection against losing Gandalf's Staff or Steward of Gondor early on. Okay, so I was unsuccessful at the quest, and my threat went up by 2. And my threat's a little higher than it normally would be because of all the Seeing Stones that I play, but that's fine. During the travel phase, I will travel here just mainly to get the threat out of staging. I'm not necessarily going to rush ahead and try to clear this, but I need to get the threat out of staging. During the encounter phase, I'm going to optionally engage Uruk Lieutenant, and he is going to get a shadow card. And to cancel his attack, I've got to play the Wizard's Voice. Doom 3, each player chooses one enemy engaged with him Until the end of the phase, each chosen enemy cannot attack the player that chose it. All right, so he cannot attack, and now I attack for 1, 2, 3, 4. He's got the same engagement, so it would just be attacking for 4. So I wouldn't be able to destroy him, so I've got to join in with Hama. Now I have the option, every time I declare Hama as an attacker, I can return a tactics event to my hand. But right now I just don't really care about doing that with Wizard's Voice. I don't want to play Wizard's Voice. My threat's already 40. I don't like that, so I'm not really wanting to play it. So I'm going to wait and use Hama's response later. So he's been declared an attacker, but I'm passing on that. But I'm able to destroy Uruk Lieutenant. When I do, in response, after a hero you control attacks and destroys an enemy, exhaust a weapon card attached to it to draw 3 cards. And there's 2 Gandalf staff. All right. Now in response, if I want to, which I don't think I do yet. I don't want to accidentally clear this next round. I'm not going to use Legolas's response because I do want to hang on to the Book of Elder card just a little bit. So I will not use his response. After Legolas participates in an attack that destroys an enemy, place 2 progress tokens on the current quest. That would go on Western Quarter, but I'm going to buy. Responses are optional. Refresh, and next round. And now I'm in the resource action window, which I can't do anything with. So now I'm in the planning action window, and I will put out Gandalf's staff. I'll use one of Gandalf's resources to do that and one of Hama's, and we're attaching that to Gandalf. So I could draw a card, but I think I'd rather not. I think I'm just going to hang tight a little bit here. We're going to use Legolas. Let me think. I'm going to put out, just to be safe here, just Knights of the Swan. There are some enemies where I would maybe need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I could put out Rivendell Blade, but I might need to chump if something comes out. I don't have Hands Upon the Bow yet, so this feels like the right way to go. I'll quest with Gandalf, and I'm not drawing a card yet. And I reveal Invading Orc. All right. So 0 progress made, but my threat did not go up. And now I have to engage Invading Orc. Okay, so I am going to use Gandalf's resource to play Feint. Combat action. Choose an enemy engaged with a player. That player cannot attack that player this phase. So I've canceled his attack. And now I'm going to attack with Legolas and with Hama and with Knights of the Swan. Now with Hama, I think I want to draw more cards, so I'm going to use his response. I'm going to indicate that I've done this with a time counter to recur an event from my discard pile. You would think it's going to be Feint, but actually I'm going to grab Foehammer. And I have to discard a card from my hand. And I'm going to discard this Wizard's Voice, I think, because I've got a Feint in hand. So I'm going to discard Wizard's Voice. I don't want to play Wizard's Voices. So now I've got Foehammer in hand, and you did that when you declare him as an attacker, and now I apply damage, and it's enough to kill the orc. And in response, I will play Foehammer and draw 3 cards. There's Wizard's Pipe. That's what I was trying to get to. That'll set me up because my threat's getting a little high here. So I probably need resources. Now that I have Wizard's Pipe and Steward of Gondor, I just need resources on Gandalf. So I'm going to add a resource to Gandalf. with my action there. And in response, do I want to put 2 progress on Western Quarter? Just in case I get location locked, yes, now I'll do it. I've used Legolas's response to do that. Refresh, and next round. All right, a priority is getting Wizard Pipe out so that I can now play Steward of Gondor. So I'll play Wizard's Pipe, and I'll use it. I'm in the planning action window. Action, exhaust Wizard Pipe to exchange a card in your hand with the top card of your deck. It's going to be Steward of Gondor, and now I'll use Gandalf's once per phase ability to play Steward of Gondor and attach it to him. And so now I've got my engine. I've got Steward of Gondor, Gandalf's Staff, and Wizard Pipe. So we are set and doing really well here. I would love to be able to play Aether Swordsman, but I've used my once per phase ability to play the card off the top. So let me think what is in my deck here. Just faint. I really wish that I had Hands Upon the Bow. Feel a little bit scared. Not scared, but like just worried about one of the Haradrim elites coming out, because then I just have to take an undefended. Well, not undefended, but I would chump with Knights of the Swan. It feels to me like it would be wise to so if I draw a card and it reveals a let me do it. I'll draw a card. Okay, I was hoping it might be Hands Upon the Bow, but it's not. And that is okay. So I need this resource for Feint, so I can't spend it. I'll quest with Gandalf. And if I need to, I could always defend with Gandalf. I do have White Council. I forgot about that. So I feel pretty good about that. If Haradrim Elite comes out, I can just defend with Gandalf. Okay, it's Haradrim Warrior. He has Archery X and Threat X. X is the number of locations controlled by the first player. I control none, so it's 0. That's nice. And I did make 2 progress and cleared Western Quarter. Okay, so that's one reason why I didn't. I mean, it's fine. I'm about to lose Book of Eldercar. Not the end of the world. But when you take control of Western Quarter, discard the highest cost attachment you control. So I've got to discard Book of Eldercar. And so I have my first location. I'm going to put these guys down here. When you take control of a location, when an Osgiliath location leaves play as an explored location, the first player takes control of it. I have one, and I have done this now, and so a resource token is placed on Palace Remains, and it also has +1 threat. Additionally, Haradrim Warrior is affected. He has Threat 1 and Archery 1. Can't travel to Ancient Harbor. During the encounter phase, we are going to engage Haradrim Warrior, and I'm going to cancel his attack with Feint, and now I'm going to attack for, and he, by the way, he got +1 attack and defense, so he's actually a combined health and defense now of 8. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm good. Math checks out there. When I commit Hama, I am going to, since I have 2 feints in my deck here, in my discard, I need to grab that feint. So I'm going to use Hama's response to bring back feint and get rid of this Dagger of Westerness. And so I've destroyed Haradrim Warrior, and sadly no Foehammer this time. Okay, refresh. Next round. Well, I've got all my Aether Swordsmen. That is crazy. So I think we do need to put out this Rivendell blade. So let's do that. Let's attach it to Legolas. And just keep my threat nice and low. I'm going to use Wizard Pipe to put Aether Swordsman on top of my deck and play it. Oops. There we go. And now, I've got Faint, so that's good. I think I'll just draw a card here because I would like to have Hands Upon the Bow, possibly. Nah. I'll just draw a card anyway. Just more options. Okay, good. I'm glad that I've got Foe Hammer. I'm hoping an enemy comes out. I will quest with Gandalf, with Aether Swordsman, and with Knights of the Swan. There's a location that has 5 threat, and so our threat would only go up by 1 if it's revealed. Okay, it's Crumbled Battlements. It says Force, when you take control of Crumbled Battlements, shuffle the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck and discard cards from the encounter deck until an enemy is discarded. Put the discarded enemy into play, engage with you. We made 1 progress, but it just goes to waste. During the travel phase, we will travel here, keeping that threat out of staging. And now for the first time during the combat phase, I can take this combat action. Exhaust a hero to place 1 progress token on Ancient Harbor. I'm going to do that twice with my 2 heroes that are available. And once I've cleared this, that'll come down to be my 2nd location. All right. Refresh, and next round. All right, I want to lower my threat, I think. Or do I want another Aether Swordsman? I think I'll put out the Aether Swordsman. So I'm going to use Wizard Pipe to put the Aether Swordsman on top of my deck. And then I'm going to play it. And so now I've got a lot of willpower going there. And I've got Hands Upon the Bow. I've got Faint. I'd rather have Bow of the Galadrim than Rivendell Blade. So I am going to spend a resource from Hama's Pool to attach Bow of the Galadrim to Legolas. And I'm going to discard the Dagger of Westerness. This is just better for Hands Upon the Bow. It's going to be a +2 regardless of what the threat is of the enemy. So that'll help him to get to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. With Hands Upon the Bow, he can kill some enemies that have 8 health and defense. He might not be able to do that with Dagger of Westerness. Okay, we'll quest. And I don't need to quest with Gandalf at this point. I've got 6 progress. I'm not really dying to clear this. But, okay, I'm a little worried about the fact that if I clear this, an enemy is going to engage me. So if an enemy comes out, well, I could kill it with Hands Upon the Bow, so we're good. Okay, we reveal counterattack. When revealed, each player must either return the location he controls with the highest threat to staging, or raise his threat by the total threat of all locations he controls. That's just 1, so I'll just take that. Surges into Orc War Camp, and I made 1 progress. I don't mind that because I didn't really want to clear this quite yet. Okay, Orc War Camp is now in staging. That's not the greatest thing ever. But what we're going to do here is go ahead and use our 3 heroes during the combat action window to clear this. So I have a 2nd location and a 2nd Osgiliath location, which means that this is up to 2 resource tokens. And I'm going to use Gandalf's staff. I'm going to start using it to put resource tokens on Legolas. I need some tactics resource tokens for later in the game. Refresh, and next round. Okay, lowering my threat is our priority, so during the resource action window, I'll use Wizard's Pipe to put the Galadhrim's Greeting on top, and I will use Gandalf's Once per phase to play this Galadhrim's Greeting. That was during the resource action window. Now I'm in planning. And so what I will do here is draw a card, I think, with Gandalf's staff. And then I will use a resource from Gandalf's pool to play Knights of the Swan, using his ability for the planning phase. I've not used these yet. I like to just keep them in my hand, and I can use them sort of as an emergency depending on what I need, but I think I'm fine. So this is going to kind of fire here. So let's just quest with our Outlands characters. And I'll leave Gandalf ready, and we reveal pin down. Add X to the archery total this round. X is a total number of locations the players control. If this is less than 4, pin down gains surge. So I'll put that there. I'll have 2 archery damage applied here in a bit. Okay, invading orc. So I do clear this. So I have got now a 3rd location. And it tells me force, when you take control of crumbled battlements, shuffle the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck and discard pile. Into the encounter deck and discard cards from the encounter deck until an enemy is discarded. Put the discarded enemy into play, engage with you. So all these cards are coming back. And we will discard until we see an enemy, and it's engaged with me. So I have some options here. I'm in the action window after quest resolution. I could play Hands Upon the Bow right now and just destroy him. Or I could play Feint. I'm going to do Hands Upon the Bow, I think. So action, exhaust a character you control with range to immediately declare it as an attacker and resolve its attack against an enemy in the staging area. It gets +1 attack. So I've played that and destroyed. And the reason I'm doing that is because now I can play this in this phase and then maybe play anyway, that's what I'm thinking. So I've destroyed him, and I will play, using Gandalf's ability, this Foe Hammer. And I can't use the lightning button off the top of the deck, but it's on top of the deck. I'm going to play this and exhaust Rivendell Blade to have drawn 3 cards. And then I'll play this one as well and exhaust a blade, a weapon, to have drawn 3 more cards. So lots of card draw right there. And I have a Wizard's Voice if I need it. Give me a moment to arrange all these cards. Okay. And now during the travel phase, I will travel to Orc War Camp. And this enemy is going to want to attack me, but I will play Feint and cancel his attack. And I will attack back, but can I get him here? Yeah, I don't have to use Legolas right now. I could ready Legolas with the White Council, but I'm not worried about Orc War Camp, so I'm just going to attack for 3 and 3 and destroy invading orc. Okay, so things are working, and I could have used Hama's action, to grab Feint out of the discard pile, but I like to save that third response for later in the game. There are some times where waiting on that's helpful. I've still got a feint, so I'm not too worried. Refresh, next round. It's worth noting, I think, right here, this is the only one that I have. If I were to cancel a when revealed, I would have to return this to staging, but I'm not going to be able to do that. I don't have any cancellation. If I take an undefended attack, I would lose Ancient Harbor. It's not a bad idea to like maybe get Ancient Harbor and lose it, grab it, lose it, because every single time you clear it, you've put another resource token on Palace Remains, but the game it doesn't really work to strategize around that. All right, so the Galadrim's Greeting, I will play using Gandalf's action during the resource action window. And I've lowered my threat down to 35. I feel good about that. Now I'm in planning. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and get Beorn out. And I don't have enough resources here to do it, so what I'm going to do is use Wizard Pipe to put Beorn on top of my deck. And then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and put him out. He's just helpful in case we get a Southron commander. It makes an immediate attack because we have locations, and he can defend against that. And he's also a good archery soak, and his action comes in handy later in the game sometimes. Okay, let's go ahead and put a resource on Legolas. I don't need to put out any weapons, but I can go ahead and put out my third Knight of the Swan. And I'll quest with my Outlands characters and leave Gandalf ready. Revealing Ruin Square. Okay, so I just need one more Osgiliath location. It's going to surge into Orc War Camp. Okay, I made 3 progress, which was enough to clear Orc War Camp. During the travel phase, I might as well just travel to Orc War Camp and get this out of staging, the threat, because I can use the response to clear this next round. Okay, is there anything I can do right now? No. Refresh. Next round. Oh, wait. Let's do this. Let's use Gandalf's staff to gain a resource on Gandalf. And my once per phase, I'm going to do during the refresh action window to play Galadrim's Greeting. That way I didn't have to use up a Wizard Pipe action to set it up next round. Okay, I am in the resource phase, but nothing to do there. Okay, I'm in planning now. And it seems wise to me to go ahead and play this Book of Eldercar while I can, while it's cheap. So I'm going to spend Gandalf's resource to pay for it. It costs 1. I'll attach it to Hama. I don't need this third Aether Swordsman yet. And I don't really need to do anything with Wizard Pipe quite yet. So maybe I'll use it later. But let's quest with our Outlands characters. And we will just reveal here. Oh, I forgot about the archery. A while back there was archery 2, and I'll just say that I put it on Legolas. And I think it was before Beorn was out, and so it was a long time ago. But there's the archery 2. Okay, we reveal Southron support, Doomed 3. When revealed, each player must search the encounter deck and discard pile for 1 Harad enemy and add it to the staging area if able. Shuffle the encounter deck. All right, so what I will look for, enemies. Got a few options. Southron Commander I don't like. Haradrim Warrior I don't like at this point because he's boosted by these 3 locations, so I am going to get Haradrim Elite and add him to staging. And of course, Haradrim Elite, when he enters play, this is not a win revealed, it makes an immediate attack from the staging area against first player. Now I've got an action window here. I will use my action window to play this Hands Upon the Bow, which is in my discard or on top of my deck. This is the action window before quest resolution, and I'll exhaust Legolas. He's attacking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and destroying him no problem. And I had named this, I forgot at the beginning of questing, I wanted to name Ruin Square from this response. Because there's more Osgiliath locations than players in the game. There were 2. And so I named it, and any overage, it's non-unique, so I can do it. Any overage goes on to Ruin Square. I'm not really going to worry about Legolas's response. I just made 2 progress here, and the other 6 went on Ruin Square, which means I cleared it. And I now have gained possession of 4 locations. So I need a 5th to be able to travel to Palace Remains. We'll refresh here. And next round. Just reminding myself what happens, like what would trigger me losing these. If a player controls, when a character leaves play, returned Ruin Square to the staging area. So when I do the Beorn, you know what, I think I'm going to do that. So I could use Beorn's action for him to leave the, let me see. Yeah, if I use his action during resource, the resource action window, he'd go back to my deck. And then I would lose Ruin Square. I could quest and name this as the response location and clear it, and then I could travel to Palace Remains. Just not sure that I want to do that. At some point, I'm going to need to use his. I guess I wouldn't have to. I wouldn't need to, but I won't do that. That just seems like an unnecessary use of Beorn. It's just an idea that I had, that I could purposely lose this, but I just keep biding my time a little bit. Let's use Gandalf's Staff to put this Aether Swordsman out on top of the deck and play him. So I've got all my Outlands characters now. And I want to use Gandalf's Staff to put a resource onto Legolas. All right, so at the beginning of questing, I'm just going to, again, I'm not going to do this thing with Beorn. Let's quest and reveal overrun defenses. When revealed, add X to the total threat in the staging area. This phase, X is the number of locations. If it's less than 4, it's not. So that did nothing. I mean, I had plenty of threats, right? 4, whatever it is, 1, 2, 3, 4. But no problem, no doom. So just another round of waiting. Just thinking through if I need to be doing anything at this point. Okay, refresh. Next round. Okay, it's worth noting that I have 2 cards in my deck. So I don't really want to draw this card. Of course, I always could use White Council, so I'm not too worried about that. Okay, I've got Hands Upon the Bow. I've got Faint. I also have Book of Eldercar, so I feel good there. I still have Power of Orthanc in hand. I've still got Will of the West, so I'm just going to quest. And reveal, there we go, a location. But the problem is I can't travel here, so made plenty of progress during the travel phase. It says travel. If I want to travel here, there has to be an active location. So I can't. I'm just going to save up resources still. I'm going to put that on Legolas. And I will refresh. And move on to the next round. Okay, so while I'm biding my time, I'm going to just spend a resource from Gandalf's pool. No, from Hama's pool to play the White Council. Starting with first player, you can basically I'm going to choose to shuffle a card back into my deck, and that card is going to be a Galadrim's Greeting. And I did that during the resource action window, and so now I can play this Galadrim's Greeting. And my threat's down to 30 again. So, that's just super useful. I could do that again if I want to. I could do it to bring out Feint, now that I have just one card. But not too worried about it. Okay, I will quest with my Outlands characters because I'm about to be able to travel to Palace Remains finally. At the beginning of the quest phase, I've named this non-unique location as the target of the response, and I reveal a Haradrim warrior, and he's got a threat and archery of 4. Don't really want to deal with the archery damage, so I am going to play Hands Upon the Bow and attack and destroy him. He would also be really buffed with whenever he engaged me, so he's gone. And I made 15 progress, which the response put that extra progress on Ruined Tower. I've gained my 5th location. So finally it says the players cannot travel here unless there are at least 5 resource tokens on Palace Remains. Well, there are, so now I can travel here. Gandalf's Staff, I'm going to exhaust to put a resource on Gandalf. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Okay. And now I will I'll use Wizard's Pipe to switch out Rivendell Blade. Whoops, it's not right. To switch out the White Council with Rivendell Blade. This is travel action window. I will play the White Council using Hama's resource. I will move this back to my deck. And I'll play it during the encounter action window. I've played another Galadrim's Greeting. I'm down to 24 threat. Refresh. And next round. Now you'll notice that I don't have any cards in my deck, which can be a problem if I ever wanted to play Galadrim's Greeting or Will of the West, because Wizard Pipe, if I try to put Will of the West on top of my deck so that I can play it, I can't because it has to switch a card. And so that's where the White Council can be helpful, or even Beorn. If I wanted to, I could use his action, shuffle him at the end of the phase. I'd shuffle him back into my deck, and then I can switch out with Beorn. Otherwise, you would get stuck. You wouldn't be able to play Will of the West. But what I'm going to do here is go ahead and I do want to play Will of the West because I'm pretty much out of events here. I mean, I guess I don't need to because I still have Book of Eldercar. I'm going to hang on to this White Council for the time when I want to play Will of the West, but I'll maybe explain that a little bit better in a minute. But let me put a resource on Gandalf. Questing with my Outlands characters, and I'm going to clear Palace Remains for sure. And here we go. We've won the game for sure. I'm just going to go ahead and use Book of Eldercar to play a card in my discard pile, which is going to be Hands Upon the Bow. And I move this to the bottom of my deck. So that's another way to get a card back into the bottom of your deck. And I'll exhaust Legolas to destroy him. And I've made plenty of progress, so we've cleared this location, and we control it now. And so I'll show you real quick. But, there's different ways to put a card back on your deck if it's empty. It would be, White Council, which I think I didn't discard it. Yeah, I didn't. So this should be discarded. No, I didn't play White Council. But White Council can put something back in your deck. Book of Eldercar can do that. And then Beorn, he can actually go back in your deck. So you have to be careful, though, because when he leaves play, you would lose Ruin Square, and then you have to keep going. But for now, though, I think we're done. Unless I want to do crazy things. I could lower my threat more right now by... Let's do it. I'll move this back. Move to Deck of Origin. Shuffle in. There's not really a way for me to draw this card, so it didn't work. Anyway, refresh. Oh yeah, here's where I could do it. I'll use Gandalf's Staff to draw a card. And now on top of my discard pile, I've got Galadrim's Greeting. So I've lowered my threat to 20, and now at the end of the round, it says if the players control all Osgiliath locations in play at the end of the round, they have won the game. We do, so we've won in 12 rounds. I've beat it in as little as 8 before, but that took getting a bunch of surging locations. So I think we saw how everything worked. Again, you just have to keep in mind that if you want to play Will of the West or any other off-sphere card, it has to be on top of your deck. And so at this point, you notice that how would I do that? How would I put Will of the West back on top of my deck to be able to play it? I can't. And so, you could with Book of Eldercar, you could with the White Council, or you could with Beorn, because if I use his action, let's say I'm in the resource phase and I use his action, to give him +5 attack, then at the end of that phase, you shuffle him back into your deck. Now he's on top of your deck. Now I can use Wizard Pipe, put Will of the West back on top, and reset. And all that sounds crazy, but there are times where the playthrough goes long enough that you need to do that. I've had playthroughs where my threat was at 47 and I was just trying to stay alive at the ends. But most of the time this deck wins pretty easily, as we just did. But there are times where you struggle to draw Steward of Gondor early enough, maybe, and or Wizard Pipe or Gandalf's Staff. You kind of need that engine to make things work. But that is it. That's the playthrough. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me look at the deck and see if I missed anything. I don't think I did. I think we saw it all. Hope you enjoyed the playthrough, and I'm glad you joined me as usual. Hope you have a great day. Thanks. Bye.